What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 315 of Littleroot Lessons. I'm your host, Angelo, and I'm joined today by the hardest working producer in Pokemon podcasting, Carl. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I'm about to say, I put that title to use this week. I did a lot of work.
Yeah.
By a lot of work, I mean just a lot of just reading, a lot of data. Combing through numbers.
This week, absolutely. This is going to be a big, heavy lifting Carl show. I have spent the last 12 hours just today packing and unpacking and moving. It's almost done.
Almost done. It should be a fun episode because we're talking mega formats this week. With Champions being probably a month out at this point. I would say roughly a month. Best guesstimate is probably going to come out like mid-April, I would assume. Could be earlier, could be later, but I'm assuming like middle of April. So this is kind of a fun start to get ready for Champions. Let's look at what mega formats looked like before, what teams we could see, what cores we can look or play around. Obviously, we're not going to venture too far outside of what we 100% know. So probably not going to really look into too much of the new mega stuff yet. Sorry, Dozogiri. Sorry, Mega Heatran. Sorry, all those other ones. Probably not going to touch those too much until we know more information about them.
I think we already. I'll say this. I think at least for the Mega Heatran team, it's just rebalanced with stuff. Like that's probably what it's going to be. Cat should be playing.
We'll touch on that here in a second. First things first. We do have some news to take care of. We finally, after we called them out, they answered. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's Regulation F is going to end March 31st. On April 1st, Regulation I will take its place until further notice. This leaves it pretty open-ended. They can cancel it. They could say, oh, we're done with Reg I whenever they want. This effectively is the same thing that they did for End of Life Cycle for the latter. Everybody's like doom and gloom, freaking out, like, oh, we don't know, Champions isn't going to not be until June or something. I was like, guys, they just did this because they want to leave it open-ended for them to run events until they say, oh, this one's Champions. Oh, this one will still be SV. Oh, this one will now be Champions. It just leaves it open-ended for them. This is them covering their ass.
Yeah, the big thing, going with that, the big thing that that was brought up from a few friends of mine who are in the event running space, it's pretty much like mostly for the events, like the Southeast Asian events that also have gotten announced on, I think it's like they'll have events mid-May that are Champions, but early May that are Scarlet and Violet, different format, but it's like more so there's going to be events where whatever software or any changes that are needed to play Champions, if they can't get the event and like they have to play Scarlet and Violet, it just gives them the announcement, so to speak, to point to where it's like, oh, we're playing Scarlet and Violet because
it's like, hey, look, we said this back in March or whatever. This is the plan. Like, we will let you know if it's a Champions event, or we'll let you know if it's a Scarlet and Violet event. But default, this is them pretty much setting the default will always be Scarlet and Violet until we officially move to Champions.
Yep.
This is them saying from April to whenever we want to effectively end it. Default is Scarlet and Violet, but there may be events that are Champions during that time period, which we do know are going to happen. It's just like the Asian events, the Southeast Asia, Japan Nats, that's all going to be on Champions starting in May. Sorry. But we might still be playing Scarlet and Violet in Los Angeles that same weekend. And so this is just them covering their butts.
Yep.
Nothing crazy here.
Yeah. But that does also mean, like, at least speaking like early on, it does finally give us our format for Orlando for anyone who's going. It did kind of make sense for it to be I. It was either like
I called it.
It was either going to be I or a continuation of Regulation F. I is the only format in this like latter portion of the formats. The full.
This is the only one that hasn't been repeated. Yeah,
exactly. And what's also kind of nice about it is that it does actually match the in-game ladder. So for the first time since Regulation I last year, you will be able to practice.
You'll be able to practice again, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I know like a handful of people who are relatively excited. I mean, my Keon, who's been on the podcast with us before, he was.
I am excited.
I know you're excited. Yeah, Keon was already like on ladder today, streaming in our server. It's like let's play. But yeah, I know a lot of people. Like, personally, I'm excited to use Dialga. Got second place at the cup with it last go around. Want to go
Bolt
take that
beam
team for us.
speed sandwich.
Yeah, I know you have that. There's a lot of people who are going to be like going with that team. Of course, now we truly know how powerful the Sun team is. So I am curious to see like what sort of progressions are made, even if it's not with the restricted pairs, but the Pokemon that are paired with them. I'm curious to see like if we do have another call like Moltres G or like Hisuian Arcanine.
I would be hard
format.
pressed to say we're going to get a lot of innovation, especially since this is probably only going to be 3, maybe 4 events tops, depending on what like big official events. Like I mentioned last week, I could still register for Orlando. Orlando registration had been open for a very long time.
Yeah.
The fact that I was able to still register for a VGC event almost a month after the registration opened is wild in this current day and age. So I expect these coming events to be smaller. Not everyone, like you said, not everyone's excited to play but I inherently expect things like Los Angeles, Orlando to be smaller events. When we make that swap to champions, if it is Orlando, cool, or Los Angeles, cool. Los Angeles will probably be real popular. If it's Indy at the end of May, also cool. It'll probably also be a very large event. Granted, Indianapolis can hold that amount of people, a large amount of people for that event. That was the first event I went to post COVID. That was one of the first events available back then, and it was a fairly large event hall. Like it'll hold a good amount of people in there. So if we do end up playing champions and it is in Indianapolis, I wouldn't be upset at it. Heck, that one might be an event I just plan on going to. Might have to twist Carter's arm to go tag along.
Yeah, you have to go actually play Pokemon and not go to Vegas and just gamble.
Well, you see, what's great about Indy is it's actually not an awful drive. If you're going there for however many, like a weekend or whatever, it's not bad. It was like Kayla and I went out there for that regional. We made that drive in half a day. Like it was like 6-7 hours, and we were fine. I'd say fine is the best way to describe it. We left about 8 o'clock in the morning, got there about 4 or 5 o'clock at night, checked into our hotel, went and had dinner, and went and saw a couple sites around downtown, and then we had to make sure we were at the event hall early enough because there's always a marathon.
Yeah.
Every time there's a regional in Indianapolis, there's a marathon that same day. And so it's just like we make sure we were up early enough to get there early enough. But yeah, I would be excited if Champions is that Indianapolis event. I think that'd be fun. The other news we got is update about the Global Challenge. Pretty much official English confirmation of the Global Challenge from Pokemon Champions. There will be no championship points for this event. I think it's fine.
I'm still playing it. Oh, I cannot wait for this. I'm playing it.
To be fair, I am very, very happy there's no championship points. I think it's stupid. I think putting championship points behind best of one blind formats is dumb.
Yeah, no, I especially since we play best of 3, not a fan of it. Bring back just bring back the Players Cup. Like just give me something like that. But no,
keep giving me free Pokemon. Don't. Oh
yeah, I'll also take free Pokemon.
I'll take the free Pokemon off of playing 3 matches or whatever. But
yeah,
get rid of
I will say this. I'm kind of I'm game for this. Like no points. I'm still playing because I'm going to be looking for any excuse to play Champions.
Yeah, like you and everybody else.
Exactly. No, then there's going to be a lot of opportunities to play Champions. Once it comes out, it's just yeah, like it does kind of suck where the points are out because I also know like a lot of people who are making worlds, people who are trying to improve their standings for Worlds pushes, we're like waiting for like, oh, like let's like get this challenge out, and then you find out, and it's like, okay, you're going to have this event, but you can't improve that standing. Um, I don't know. Maybe we get another like Grand Challenge or something that
I
pops up.
imagine these will probably be a little bit more frequent rather than
Yeah,
compared to what we've been doing. I imagine the reason why this one is not offering championship points is
it's because
it's
it's the
only going
first
to be
one.
like probably a 2 to 3 week turnaround time from launch of the game to playing in this. And so they don't want people being forced into suboptimal teams to try and grind this out versus the people who have home connectivity prepared and ready to rock and roll. This kind of just keeps it a more casual experience to start out.
Yeah. Well, casual for us Americans, this is still acting as the qualifier for Japan,
Yeah.
so we will find the format from this because they will be going ham.
Well, yeah, like they will be. Those are the players that will have home set up and they
Yeah.
will be able to get all their stuff on day one. Kind of like how you and I would be able to do that, but the average player plays Showdown occasionally, plays occasional Scarlet and Violet singles / doubles, wants to pick this up and start learning VGC, probably won't have access to everything on home to get all the Pokemon from home into Champions.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of the Global Challenge format, it is going to be a Megas format, which brings us to the meat and potatoes of this episode.
I'm going to look at some Mega Pokemon
Gonna look at
from past
some
formats.
cores. So I have 5 teams. These are all high placing teams from mostly the Sun and Moon era of Megas.
Mm-hmm.
If you go back into like 2014, 2015, 2016, it's all chalk.
Yeah, once chalk became a thing,
Boom.
it was just the thing.
It's just literally just every team was that. So I kind of I have it here because there was a like the updated version for Sun and Moon, but I kind of avoided the XY events because it was either double restricted or it was chalk. And we aren't going to talk about double restricted in this right now because we already have to worry about Mega MA, whatever that is. Let's worry about that first, and then we'll look at Groudon, Kyogre, and all that jazz later.
Yeah.
So let's look at this. Hey, it worked.
Love that button. Love that button. Such a cool button.
Shout out to the creator. This is a JavaScript attachment to Showdown for those that are interested. They're looking at it on screen. It's very nice. I set this up over this weekend and it's cool. This is what we like to call, for the better part, chalk. This is updated for Sun and Moon. The idea is Mega Kangaskhan, really, really strong, fake out, scrappy, low kick, sucker punch, return, etc. Played alongside with very great supports and things like Landorus, Heatran, Cresselia. Tapu Fini and Kartana are the new parts from the Sun and Moon era to this team. Usually it's an Amoonguss and kind of whatever you want in that last slot. Usually it was
there were a lot of different options. There were Talonflame, Volcarona, Aegislash, Bronzong, I believe. As dominant as Chalk was, and I can't remember the exact set 6, but that 6th slot was always kind of like moving around even after Worlds 2015 when they were playing when they were still playing the 2015 format, like leading into the double restricted format in 16. You'd see again, it would be like the basis of chalk and then like a few pieces. In general, this is just a really strong balance team. And when you look at the aspect of the team, you have your fire, water, grass core. That usually, for this example, it's Kartana, Heatran, and Tapu Fini. You have your speed control in the Trick Room Cresselia, Intimidate in Landorus, Therian. Your Mega Kangaskhan offers fake out support, and then you're talking about offense. Pretty much every single Pokemon on this team, besides the Crest, is able to just punch a bowl into you. We know how powerful Heat Tread is, especially even now in 2026 VGC. We keep on seeing this thing pop up. Kartana's one of the most threatening Ultra Beasts ever created, especially once it starts getting the Beast boosts up and going. Tapu Fini, I've said this on the podcast a lot. The crimes I would commit to get Tapu Fini into the game.
God, I hope Tapu Fini.
I would be. Yeah,
I don't want the Ultra Beasts back. I just want the Tapus back. Just give me that.
I'll take both. I love the Ultra Beast. I just aesthetically, I just think they're the coolest Pokemon. I don't know. I went from like hating Gen 7 when it came out. I did not enjoy playing Sun and Moon all too much to like the Gen 7 Mons being some of my favorites. Landorus is Landorus, VGC royalty. Y'all know what it does. Cresselia, also VGC royalty. Not actually, it's really been on the back on the up and up in Regulation 2. But like, yeah, like ask your.
You thought Cresselia was doing work on this team. Imagine now having, instead of like this toxic, you have Lunar Blessing, and you just get to heal everything.
Yeah, like ask any VGC player who's played before, like 2018 and earlier, what their favorite Pokemon is, and you're not going to have to ask many people before they say Cresselia. And Mega Kangaskhan, even the nerf Mega Kangaskhan is still really powerful. Being able to double priority with your Sucker Punch, double fake or the fake out, you wouldn't have return. You would have probably, what would the top physical normal be for it now?
The top physical moves for Kangaskhan would probably be in the realm of let's just go anything goes. Well, anything goes isn't gonna work.
So I'm looking through, so it's not Headbutt.
No. Me trying to find a format. There we go.
Double Edge. No,
you do not want to do that.
You do not.
As a person who played a lot of Regigigas, you do not want that. It's honestly probably like maybe just playing Facade.
I was going to say it's Facade. Facade's base 70, Fake Out's base 70. So in that sense, like bodies actually could be Body Slam.
Could be Body Slam.
Base 85. Yeah, I think if you're talking just straight up, like power that isn't Double Edge, Body Slam is your highest like normal type base power move. They really nerfed the options with normal types by getting rid of Return and Frustration.
Yeah.
So you would probably be looking through it. It's probably going to be Body Slam. And that is going to limit Mega Kangaskhan, but the fact that you're able to attack twice, you're able to break sashes. Now, one of the things that Kangaskhan lost going from Gen 6 to Gen 7 was the attack Power Punch.
Yeah, Power Punch being gone is a big deal.
They did give it back in ZA, though, so who can say?
We'll have to see what the Champions move list is. I don't believe all moves will be in Champions. I believe they'll probably go through and be pretty selective on certain things.
And I do hope not. For those of you who don't know what Power Punch is, it is a 40 base power move that gives you +1 to your physical attack. The thing with why Power Punch is so powerful on Kangaskhan, you get the +1 for each hit with your Mama Kanga and the baby. So Power Punch is pretty much and also the other aspect of it is you get the +1 boost on your second hit. So even though it does less damage, it's already your second hit's already going to be boosted a little more. It turns it into a sword stance that also damages Pokemon.
It's a fighting type sword stance that hits people.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's actually really disgusting. But yeah, I think overall, like for the classic Megas, Keg is always going to be one that is going to be tested. Whether or not it has legs, I think it'll depend on its normal type coverage, whether it's Power Punch is in the game or not. But people will act like a team similar to this, a balanced backbone with Kanga as the Mega, I think will always have a place in the metagame.
Yeah.
Okay, what's
Next one, we're gonna talk about Mega Metagross. Does a lot of similar things to more of that kind of balancey style. This one's looking to be a little bit more slower game plan, double intimidate between Incineroar and Landorus. This one also is sitting on the backbone of a Mimikyu Snorlax combo, which back in the Sun and Moon era was a very, very strong duo. Mega Metagross, very, very strong, very, very powerful. Steel Psychic was already decent, and the coverage was fine. New Mega Metagross gets access to better stab moves now.
Yes.
Things like Heavy Slam, things like Psychic Fangs.
That's the huge one.
Now we actually have decent stab moves on top of our really deep coverage pool in Stomping Tantrum, Ice Punch, etc. So it'll be very interesting to see how much stronger Mega Metagross actually becomes. Again, this is another one where it's like we really want the Tapus in this format because having Tapu Koko alongside things like Mega Metagross would be really, really nice.
Yeah, not having to be afraid of the Amoonguss sleep issue, but also Mega Metagross is now going to be better in playing into Amoonguss because it can actually hit that psychic. You can use that psychic damage to hit that weakness. So one of the other things just to note on this is it does show the non-Mega ability. Tough Claws is
Tough Claws, yeah.
Yep, which is a boost on damage or boost on attacks that like make contact with the opponent. So Psychic Fang, Heavy Slam, Iron Head, Ice Punch, Stomping Tantrum, all of these moves are getting this Tough Claws bonus.
Yep. Correct.
So I think like again, this is something Mega Metagross was a Pokemon, especially in Sun and Moon, that really, really took off. When they introduced the dynamic speed for Mega Evolutions, Mega Metagross was one of the biggest winners, being able to go from the insanely slow speed of regular Metagross, which I believe is like base.
I think
is it 60?
I thought it was 80.
I got it right here. It is you go from a base right in the middle, base 70.
70 to, it's like 110 now then, right?
Yep, it's 70 to 110. So not having to wait the turn and being able to actually get that base 110 speed immediately is why Mega Metagross performed a lot better in Generation 7 than it did in Generation 6. And we're expecting that to be the case again, where this new dynamic speed, even more so than back in Gen 7, is really going to help it, along with it just getting two incredibly powerful attacks in Heavy Slam and with
Psychic Fangs.
Yeah, the Psychic Fangs is huge because
that's the big kicker, right? Because now you're no longer like relying on Zen Headbutt,
which is just Psychic Fangs. It actually hits. It has a higher base power, and you're breaking screens, so it's not even like you can try to like stall screens against this team or any Mega Metagross team.
Grimmsnarl being a new Pokemon in this format might impact how some Megas play. That's that Pokemon that can always set up screens. You can't prankster taunt it. If Cobra Cloak's in the game, you can't mess with it. So it's just like, okay, cool. Like screens are going up. So having that Psychic Fangs on a Pokemon access like that, or Brick Break and things like that, is going to be probably beneficial, depending on how the format goes. The next one is Megazard Y. This is not exactly the one I wanted to pick, but this is the highest placing one that I found. The one I really was looking for was the Megazard Y with the Mega Venu option, like back and forth, because you could mega your Charizard, get your Sun up, Venusaur Chlorophyll kicks in, and then you can spam your sleep powders, do whatever. Or if the game plan didn't work great to have Mega Charizard, you could Mega your Venusaur, go to that thick, fat, that bulky grass, give you that half damage to fire and ice type attacks, and clean people up that way. I wanted that one, but there wasn't a good open paste for that I found. But I did find an open paste for this one. doing some more of these kind of similar styles. We've got the Snorlax doing its thing. Snorlax, for those that didn't play in Sun and Moon, Snorlax was a powerhouse. And
arguably the best non-restricted bet, especially pre like Incineroar. Like you can argue one of the best Pokemon in Sun and Moon. Because of the way that the berries work, pink berries were 50%, and not 100. I'm sorry, it was 50%, not 33%. And with Gluttony, that meant that once that berry kicked in, you pretty much went back. So like not this Snorlax isn't running it, but like you could belly drum and then get all of your HP back, and not just having to use a citrus berry to get a quarter of it back.
Yeah.
Which is big. This team runs hyper offense, and I think the main thing you will see with Mega Charizard Y is hyper offense. In general, it's a very fast, very powerful Pokemon, immediately setting up the sun for it to be able to go and just do a ton of damage. When looking at its stat spread, you're looking at a base 159 special attack, while keeping it very speedy. It's base 100 speed. So you have the base 159 special attack. You have the sun boost. Your heat waves and overheats are just doing so much damage. This is a Pokemon that is one of those screw the damage calculator, I have damage sort of like
it's
Pokemon.
It's like Chi-Yu. It's like, oh, this overheat probably kills you. Let's just click it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, the next one 1000% will.
Yeah, it's like if it doesn't kill you, the next move will. Like that's the situation you're in.
So yeah, you're going to just see this Pokemon ran very, very aggressively, which you see a lot of aggressive Pokemon on this team. I mean, not that we're going to have them, but just for examples, the double Z move Tapu's is a very, very aggressive choice. Choice Scarf Landorus being a fast damage mon, also providing a pivot and rock slide support to be able to help do that double spread with the Mega Charizard Y. Milotic is a weird thing on this team because when you look at it, like outside of the Snorlax who can just curse away, and like to an extent like the Landorus, like it was a decent way to punish Intimidate, but the team doesn't care about it super much.
Yeah, it's more of just like I'm hedging my bet rather than this is Intimidate's a big problem. I need to check for it. No, this is more of Intimidate is around on every team, so this just adds an extra layer of my opponent has to respect this as an option going into that fight.
Yeah, and I also think like one of the other things like with it is that just at the time there just didn't feel like a better water type. Like, yeah, sure, you could have ran Primarina, but do you want to run Triple Fairy?
Probably not.
And at that point, like, you could run Feeny. If you're running Feeny, you're running Triple Terrain, so...
You're also still running Triple Fairy.
I mean, that too. You're running Triple Fairy with Triple Terrain. So yeah, there's a lot of different things, like, with this, at least with Milotic, and you'll see this since we are looking at these older teams. I know
you'll see a lot of this. You'll see a lot of this. Like these three, you'll see a lot of these.
And part of it is because like Landorus and Snorlax broken, Milotic good, and there kind of weren't better options.
Milotic good because Landorus and Incineroar are so popular.
Yep.
That's just how that kind of trio works. Milotic sees more play because Intimidate's everywhere. In a clear amulet format, as we've seen in Scarlet and Violet, though, things like Milotic haven't really been needed because you just play clear amulet and you aren't worried about Intimidate as much.
Yeah. Also, there's just better grass types.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an interesting one. So this is another hyper offensive team. Mega Salamence is one of now this Mega Salamence set doesn't really showcase it, but Mega Salamence is one of the very few Pokemon in VGC history where you actually will see it run as a mixed attacker, usually with either double edge or return, along with Hyper Voice. This is because that Mega Salamence is aerialate, and one of the things I think that's been a trend that we've talked about a lot, especially in Scarlet and Violet, having good, consistent flying type damage that actually hits is so freaking good It's why Pelipper with Hurricane has become one of the most dominant, is like the more dominant rain setter than Politoed, amongst a few other things format wise. But like being able to have the flying type coverage that when you have the rain is up, that always hits big. Same with like Tornadus being able to set rain for its bleak wind storms. Salamence, once it mega evolves, being able to click either the physical single target moves, again, double, like, which would be double edge in today's day and game, since you don't have return or frustration, or being able to threaten special flying type damage that, again, also always hits in Hyper Voice, is absolutely insane. Along with, again, like I said, being able to Dragon Dance setup, be able to roost away damage. Salamence is one of the Pokemon that's great inside and outside of Mega because of its Intimidate ability when it's not Mega Evolved. It's just a really, really powerful hyper offensive Pokemon. And again, this is a team that's just built around maximizing the hyper offensive capabilities. You have your Fire, Water, Grass, Instant Gastrodon, and Kartana. Snorlax is, again, Snorlax and Koko. These are just Pokemon that the staples you're always going to see when looking at Gen 7 teams. Like when we look at Gen 9 teams years from now, we'll be saying the same thing about Pokemon like Goldango and Rillaboom and like Fluttermane, where it's like, oh yeah, if this was Gen 9, you always ran these Pokemon. If you didn't, you were dumb. Or like you were throwing. Like, yeah, you ran these Pokemon because they were the best. And you're running aggressive versions. You have the double Z move and like your Gastron, usually a more passive Pokemon. You're running Groundium Z. That Earth Tower is there to send someone into the ground.
Yes.
Gracium Z, Kartana, multiple choice specs, Tapu Koko. There is so much damage potential on this team.
Yeah. The last one that I found to talk about is this one's important because we get to talk about Mega Gengar. We know Mega Gengar is good. Like it was to the point where they had to change Gengar to nerf Gengar to nerf it just a little bit. And so now, having played with things like Fluttermane for the past however many years, we get Mega Gengar back. There, you could make very, very similar comparisons between Fluttermane and Mega Gengar in terms of stat distribution and overall power level. In this version, we're playing Perish Trap, which this is probably the closest team that you can just pick it up from back then and slot it into Champions and play it now, because all you have to do is just change this out for Rillaboom.
Yeah, I was going to say Bulu's a Rillaboom, and like maybe there's like a handful of like maybe like Latios and Landorus. Maybe they're different Pokemon depending on things. Like that might just be testing wise and format based. So yeah, running like having the Politoed, Instant, Bulu, that's huge. I think one of the big things with Mega Gengar that really takes the Perish like archetype over the top is the fact that it's both your trapper and a Perish user.
Yeah.
So being able to have that as your option is really good, along with the fact that it does also put out some really impressive damage.
Yeah.
Even if you bulk this thing out, it's going to do a ton. We're looking at, I believe, I can pull this up.
Its bulk is very comparable to Fluttermane, like base stat wise total, and you still can deal damage like Fluttermane can. Obviously, you don't get booster speed to be fast, speedy like Fluttermane, but when nobody gets booster speed, this overall speed level goes down. Mega Gengar is still in that decently fast speed range.
Yeah, so your bulk is a lot better. It's base 60. So your special bulk isn't as good. Your physical bulk's a little better. It's a 60 HP, 80 defense, 95 special defense. You have a 170 base special attack stat. So it's another one of these Pokemon where you can invest in the bulk, which on a team where the idea is that you survive longer, the bulk should still be there, and you can still do a decent bit of damage because of how high your special attack is. And you are base 130 speed. Now, with you mentioning Fluttermane, depending on what Pokemon are legal when, one of the things that will actually kind of hurt Mega Gengar is that 130 isn't the number. When you open it up to every available Pokemon, 130 is the number it used to be. We have, I mean, mainly
I
Fluttermane
imagine it's going to
outspeeding.
be Dragapult's probably going to be the top end again.
So yeah, so Dragapult and Dragapult existing is going to be difficult for it. The best thing that's going to help Mega Gengar is the fact that not even the Incineroar, the fact that they have to go and click they have to click Phantom Force because they won't be able to click Terra Ghost, Terra Blast anymore.
This is still going to be your best friend.
Incineroar, yes.
This is still your
well,
best
yeah.
friend.
What you have to you need the Incineroar to switch into the Phantom Force.
Exactly. Like this is still your best friend. Like, oh, they're going to hit a Ghost type move into my Gengar. Okay, here's my Incineroar. I'm just going to eat this. Sure, let's go. Like I have. If this still gets knockoff in Champions, that's a move that this didn't have back then. Like,
yeah,
knockoff on the Incineroar now is going to be nuts. Okay, bye Dragapult. Pop.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a team that is going to be very interesting. Like, again, there's no way Wolfe Glick is not going to be playing Mega Gengar at some point. I know, like he said, like it's his favorite. He got his World's War Mega Gengar, and this team also was a second place team. This was Emilio Forbes' team for 2018 Worlds. Again, he placed second at, and yeah, it's a very strong idea. Perish Trap is going to come back, and as more people know how to play this team than ever before, maybe we see someone who's not named Wolfe Glick take an event with Perish.
Maybe.
Like, Emilio's been the closest. He made finals with it. And honestly, would have been even more impressive because it would have been a world championship.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
All right. So that was the past. Let's talk about the present. I want to start with the Mega Metagross because we mentioned the whole dynamic speed being a real big boon to Metagross. One of the things that that team wasn't doing was Prankster Tailwind. Mega Metagross already
that didn't exist.
Because that didn't exist yet. Well, not in the sense that we were playing with.
Yeah.
It does now. Having this access to Whimsicott means that this is probably a really strong pairing. Same thing having Landorus in there. This just feels like a very strong core to start with. You could fill this out with fire and water and whatever, and you probably have a really good start basics for whatever team you want to play with going into this format. We mentioned having access to things like Zen Headbutt, and we get Psychic Fangs, Heavy Slam. Heck, you could, if you really, really wanted to, you could lean into the special side and just ignore the tough claws. You get things like Expanding Force on this thing, which, depending on how your team is playing, that might work out for Mega Metagross to play with a little bit better. You have access to Bullet Punch. You have access to, obviously, Ice Punch, Iron Head. You have access to Knockoff now, currently. That may change depending on how the format goes. Thunder Punch, Trailblaze is kind of unique, cool coverage if that's still in this game. It's still in the game. Being able to boost your speed even more means that you don't have to worry about the Tailwind as much. So you could do other things like Charm or Tickle or anything like that. There's a lot to like. I think the top is like in the tippy top of my list of returning megas that I'm excited to play with. It's like Metagross and Swampert. I think are my top two currently.
Yeah. I think the big thing with Metagross as well is it's really able to lean into its stabs. As you also mentioned, the Bullet Punch as a great priority option to clean things up. It might be a Pokemon that might only need to run like Protect and then just stab. The same way that we'll see Urshifu do the same thing, where they just like run Protect, Aqua Jet, and then Surging Strikes in close combat. You don't have the coverage, but like you're hitting so hard and you're doing so well with stab moves, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like don't worry about hitting for the random coverage. The random coverage is because our stab move sucked. We don't have that issue anymore. Now we get to solve that problem.
I think pairing it with Tailwind does make a lot of sense. We know how powerful the Tailwind setters can be. One of the things that I would look at, like even just similar teams from recent meta games, the like Double Genie, like Tornadus, Landotherian, like Hydrophant teams that we've seen that we saw last in Regulation F, or like the Whimsicott Raging Bolt teams, like having Metagross pop in as the physical presence on something like that. I think that would be like a cool way to start playing the team. Giving this Pokemon like really good speed control and allowing it to always set the rules of engagement just feels really good. Yeah, throwing on Incineroar. We don't know like what sort of like water type.
We don't know exactly what water types we're getting. We can kind of just assume. Like we've seen Blastoise, we've seen Greninja.
We've seen Rotom, and honestly, a Pokemon, like, depending on the power level, a Pokemon like Rotom Wash would actually be really good on this team. It gives you the ground type immunity that Metagross really enjoys having, one of its partners have, especially if you're also pairing Incineroar. And then you're threatening those ground types with your Hydro Pump as well. So yeah, going with something like that, and then having like another like maybe special attacker. Again, like the Landorus spot, we're just throwing in there because
we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know what we're doing.
It probably won't be, but like
it could be. Who knows?
It could. Yeah. Who can say? But I'd say in general, even if you remove the Landorus, like running like
take this one out, this is still fine.
This is still really
good.
Find another special attacker.
This could also just be like.
Yeah,
you could literally just slot in Gyarados into this spot, and it's fine. Like,
you can run the Gyarados.
You just have the intimidate bulky support Gyarados with like Thunder Wave and Waterfall and whatever other random like coverage move you want. Dragon Dance. I don't know.
And then your last two Pokemon end up being like special attackers. I'm just looking people up like at least to give examples we kind of know are coming.
For special attackers, oh goodness. There's
like Hydreigon.
Oh yeah, Hydreigon's probably going to be goated in this format.
Yeah, you're going to have Hydreigon as an option. You're going to have Sylveon if you want a fairy type as a special
That's
attacker.
True. There's probably Sylveon.
Even better than Sylveon, go even further, Gardevoir as a really strong special attacker.
Gardevoir's going to be there.
So, yeah, there's like a lot of different like special options you can put in this team. Ninetales will probably, there's a good chance you'll see Ninetales.
You know what you don't like? Ground types. You know what kills ground types? Ninetales. You know what resists steel? Water. You know what kills water types? Ninetales.
Yep. But yeah, having like your ground immunities with Mega Metagross and the speed control makes a ton of sense.
I will read that later, Carter. God
I don't
damn.
even have it up.
I got a loud ping in my ear and I went to see what it was because like sometimes it's my wife. It's a book from Carter for Pokemon Platinum Kaizo.
Oh Jesus! Oh my God!
I didn't even look at it.
Bill Shakespeare over here.
So yeah, like you could see something like this, maybe not exactly this, but something similar to this.
Yeah.
And it'd probably be a pretty solid day one team. Again, another Lando.
Loved throwing Landorus here.
Landorus fit in pretty much. This is just pretty much any Intimidate mon you want to slide in here. Landorus just fit the best for this situation because we also had Mega Venusaur, Mega Zard. Like one of the cool things being able to just slap Mega Stones on stuff and not have to use them means that regular Venusaur being Chlorophyll works great with Mega Zard being able to set Drought. On the flip side, you can just play Mega Venusaur with Thick Fat and eat hits all day and not play the Zard, and your opponent still has to respect the fact that, oh, Zard could be anywhere at any time. They could set the sun or do whatever, and instead you just Mega Venusaur and you just clean up house. Like, you are
Now what?
bulky,
Yeah.
boy.
Now, one thing I will bring up with this, because of the bulk, if you want to go back to Venusaur, is that you don't need to play Mega Venusaur with Mega Charizard. People have definitely, like, I know that people have ran it with Charizard X. People just ran Venusaur as the generic, like, secondary Mega. Yes, you are technically running a Pokemon that more likely than not will not be using its items. You have a primary Mega you prefer to use. Venusaur itself is still a really strong grass type, depending on the format. There's, again, like, just going through the list of available Pokemon that we have right now for, like, special attacking grass types. Your best Pokemon is Venusaur, unless you want to run something more sporty like Sinistra. So having a Pokemon like Venusaur that does damage in general and can just be brought, and then also with its ability of Thick Fat and its bulk, it is a Pokemon that just sits there and breaks down your opponent's teams. I think it's the. I don't think you'll ever really see, like, primary Mega Venusaur teams.
No,
but it's
those tend to not do well.
Yeah.
Venusaur is very good as a, I have the option to be a secondary Mega on my team. My focus is my Charizard. Why? But if my opponent has a lot of good answers into my Charizard Y, I would rather Mega my Venusaur if I am going to Mega Evolve something.
And it's mostly like Venusaur, like, in the past, it'll be like, oh, it's really good in this, and this, and just awful into everything else. While having the ability to play that Pokemon in those matchups where it's specifically really good in, and still have it be a contributing member outside of those matchups.
Yep.
You have the sun up. Really awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be the big kicker. Is Chlorophyll works? It's going to be dynamic speed, so Chlorophyll speed double, going to be fast. So it's like this may change into a situation where Mega Venusaur isn't a need anymore, and you can just play a real item on here. We'll have to see how the format shakes out and how they want to handle what's going to happen here. I want to talk about rain while we're also still in the weather situation. Mega Swampert is near and dear to my heart, and this thing is probably one of my favorite Swift swimmers in the game. Even though it's base 70 speed, like, this is still one of my favorite Swift swimmers. And Water Ground is just really strong, really good coverage. Pairing it with the fact that we probably have things like Archaludon and Pelipper in this situation to set our rain and have a different rain abuser to go a different mode. I like this a lot. I like this. Yeah. This little trio feels really very strong. Like, right.
No, it's very much like Urshifu's not around, so we can actually, like, play with fun water types.
Yeah.
Being a really strong Swift Swim Pokemon, Swampert again saw some play. The fact that it gets Zygarde now is really useful, and depending on the format, can also just be a generally strong tech to have. We know how good water coverage and ground coverage is. Swampert has both of them. Now, for its physical water type moves, that is the thing that I'm the most curious in, because I believe right now you are stuck on Waterfall, unless I am. You get liquidation, right?
You get liquidation, yeah. I'm about to say you get liquidation and Waterfall, which liquidation, being the 5 power more, is probably what you run. One of the things I like about this Mega Swampert though is Swampert has access to Flip Turn.
Yes, that too.
That's one of the things I like. You have access to go Mega Speed Double Flip Turn out into whatever to eat the grass type attack, the Archaludon or whatever that's coming into your way. Like, I do like that as an option for specifically Mega Swampert.
Yeah, and just going through some other text that was given, more so in Scarlet and Violet, knockoff, high horsepower, outrage, EQ, which it's always had. You get Helping Hand, which, that's cute. Stomping, Rock Slide, Ice Punch, Brick Break. So even like stuff like Icy Winds, going Swift Swimming, just being a super fast, like speed control, having that as an option. There's a lot of different Pokemon like cool moves that this Pokemon gets now that it didn't get back in Generation 7. I think the big question with Swampert is going to be how is it going to play in a format with Rillaboom? Because that's pretty scary.
Well, yeah, Rillaboom's always scary, but we also just have a Pokemon that sits in front of us. Looks at click Grassy Glide, and it's just like, okay, you either eat this Hurricane or I switch out my Swampert into the Archaludon and I get a stamina boost. Now what are you doing?
Looking at this team and like the Pokemon that we know are available, Maushold really fits in as a core Pokemon. I feel like this team really likes having redirection. We know how good you can do the funny button with the Maushold and the Archaludon. That is an option for you. So that's also another Pokemon, and like of course, like Incineroar works here because Incineroar works on literally.
Incineroar, if Incineroar's in the game, it's going to be everywhere in this format.
Yeah,
like it's just that good. And then obviously you could just insert grass or whatever into this last slot here.
Yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon that you again. It's like
a lot of these mega teams, they're usually very strong 4 and 5 Mon cores. Back like for Scarlet and Violet, a lot of what we were doing was like 3 Mons plus Tech Mon plus 2 other Mons for when my main core didn't work. I had a situation to go, okay, these other 4 can probably play together if I need to. Whereas that last these are very much all encompassing in like 4 or 5s. Like I have these 2 support Pokemon, but I'm almost always bringing these 3, but then I also have this random tech slot.
With our known Pokemon, it's probably Gambit.
Yeah.
Gambit or
Gambit fits. There's just Rillaboom probably fits.
Honestly, yeah, Rillaboom fits.
Like if you don't play Earthquake and you just play high horsepower, Rillaboom is probably perfect here. Yeah, like there's just a lot you can do with this core and still do stuff.
Yeah. Swampert is probably actually one of the big things if you want to really throw this out here again, teams with secondary megas. I know that we aren't really diving into new megas, but with Mega Dragonite being a special attacker, I feel like Mega Dragonite is going to be excellent on rain teams, being able to launch the 100% accurate Hurricanes. So that could also be a mode where Archaludon is a Dragonite, gives you a special attacking option. You could still keep the rest of the team kind of the same as it is, or you can just go double Dragon, because being resistant to Fire, Water, Grass is really great. One of the other awesome, I wouldn't say awesome, but like things that we have to readjust to once we get to this mega format is that Pokemon are their types.
Yeah, they won't change. For now, they will not change.
Yeah. Like, if you launch a ground type attack into that Archaludon, it will not turn into a bug type before, like in front of your eyes.
It's not going to grow the antenna. Don't worry. It'll still take super effective damage.
The Swampert will always be 4 times weak to grass. Yeah. Like, that's the stuff that you'll be able to do.
Yeah. It's going to put a lot more pressure on making sure that you have specific like answers for specific types to make sure that you have that, because you can't just willy-nilly change to be whatever anymore. I don't feel like we have to really talk too much about the theory crafting behind Mega Gengar. I feel like its team is a very, very linear kind of build. Same with kind of like Mega Kangaskhan. The teams that are going to feature these two are very much they're going to have the same pieces that they kind of had back in Sun and Moon. Nothing really big is going to happen. I feel like you just like slot. You could probably slot maybe like a Rogue Gothitelle or whatever on here, or you could do kind of the similar thing with Kangaskhan. Like you just insert chalk pieces that you have here and make it work. Mega Mints. This is one of the ones where I feel like we get some really cool tech now because we have things like Golden Go.
Yeah.
One of the big issues from Salamence was like you could just get got by any like random fairy type in the game, which currently, without Fluttermane in the format, I feel like fairies aren't going to be as scary. They're still going to be good fairy types, but they're not going to be as prominent as, say, like Fluttermane was. Like, Fluttermane's everywhere in Scarlet and Violet just because it's the best fairy type. Whereas in the formats without Fluttermane, we see a lot of, okay, well, what is the best fairy type? And we see a lot of missing fairy types. So this was kind of just like my idea of, oh, well, we could still play Mega Salamence, and then we just get to slap Goldengo next to it because we can just do that.
Yeah. I think on a team like this, Whimsicott is another case where like Whims is very like makes so much sense here. Like Goldango on a team like this is probably like the Specs variant as well, like or like a very offensive like Goldango. Again, when you're running Mega Salamence, a lot of times you're going to be running more of a hyper offensive leaning team than sort of a balancey leaning team. So this could also be another team where like we see both. What's it called? We'll see, because you're running the mixed set with the hyper voice.
So you could run the mixed set. You could run the double edge only set.
Yeah, I could see this with Whims. I could see this with Mouse. I could see it with both, to be quite honest.
Just looking to. Oh, we also have things like Breaking Swipe now.
Yeah,
that was something we didn't have for Mega Mints beforehand that we do now. That's probably really, really good.
I still think you'll be leaning towards your flying stab because of all the bonuses. But yeah, the fact that you actually have a dragon type attack that does a thing
that isn't just useful. Dragon Claw, yeah,
or like Outrage and Prey.
Yeah, we don't like those types of dragon moves. We'd rather have the ones that actually like have an effect,
or just do a lot of damage and hit.
Oh god, imagine like Dragon Cheer next to the Mega Salamence.
Oh yeah, that's going to be like the week one, like this team made top of the ladder, like
that's gonna feed like families YouTube. For a week on YouTube. No, this is gonna be the ultimate content farm.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Okay, I know what our first video is gonna be.
you can do that. I don't think I will be doing that.
I know what our first video is gonna be. Yeah. But I also wanted to look at some of the more I'll call them fan favorite / probably underrated megas that we're getting back. Mega Charizard X being one of those. I feel like this creates a very strong like fire, water, grass core. Not being able to play things like Clear Amulet on your Mega Charizard X means Intimidate's a problem. That's why Melodic's here. Mega Charizard X not being a flying type, being grounded, means that you get access to recovery from grassy terrain. Grassy Surge also reduces the damage from Earthquake, which is going to be something that's very, very common on most of these ground types. And so this immediately just stuck out as this is like probably the new, depending on what we have access to, probably one of the new best fire, water, grass cores if you're going to look at playing a Mega Charizard X. Like this is, you're set up like right here. Like there's no extras, no need to add to worry anything. It's like this is it. Like here you go.
Now, one of the things with Mega Charizard X, which is also a Pokemon that has Tough Claws, the Pokemon does have a lot of different options on how you play it. Now, Wolfe Glick famously won a regional with Mega Charizard X, running it as a support Pokemon, using attacks like Will-O-Wisp instead of, and like leaning into its more like heavier support moveset instead of using it as like a major sweeper. But of course, with Tough Claws, you're going to have a lot of really strong attacks, your best being your Flare Blitz, but you also have other options going through your Dragon-type coverage, as we talked about, Thunder Punch for... this is now like a really strong Breaking Swipe Pokemon. Thunder Punch, you'd have... what else? Shadow Claw. You have...
Iron Tail's not great. If we had Iron Head, I'd be a little bit more like on it, but I don't think we have that.
Yeah, let me see.
You're not. I don't remember how big. Like it depends on like what the format is. Like Heat Crash could be an option if you don't want to play Flare Blitz and worry about the recovery.
You also have and that's another option. Is you have one of the other newer moves called Temper Flare,
Yeah.
which is the fire type variant of Stomping Tantrum. But one of the things that is going to help this with it is like if you're running it next to a Rillaboom. Honestly, this is like another like classic team where since you are so set fire, water, grass, I can see like throw a redirection mon in. Maybe it's a setup mon. Like this is another team where I can easily see like Goldango, Mouse like fit super well here
Yeah.
as like your fifth and sixth Pokemon. Also, if you're running, or you can even just run your Charizard as the setup Pokemon with Dragon Dance, be able to get your speed back up.
Yeah. Like you just have access to so many options with this, and you like the Pokemon. Yeah, it's like Swords Dance, Dragon Dance. Milotic Rillaboom will give you the time to do this stuff. Milotic being able to do Icy Wind, to do Hypnosis Coil shenanigans, Rillaboom being able to like Fake Out and Grassy Glide, giving you an excess recovery via grassy terrain. Like this 3-mon piece feels very, very close to just being a slap a steel on it, slap a follow me mon on it, let's go. Like you're ready to rock and roll.
Now this is the sort of team that I like. One of the teams, like if I'm playing like an older Mega, like I definitely would be looking at playing. I do like the idea of this team a lot. Mega Charizard, I just think it's a really cool Pokemon. The whole like the fact that like they had like that little like anime short that was initially everyone was like airing it. They were like, oh, this is to celebrate like like the 151 Pokemon and Pokemon Red and Blue. Well, red and green because it was out in Japan first. At the end, it's like, oh wait, Charizard has a second Mega. They can do that. Just very hype. What was that called?
I'm not gonna lie. When we got the Lucario Z, I was ready for Charizard Z. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Oh no, I was as well, but we didn't get it. Which thank God.
Thank God, yeah. That's the last thing we needed was another Charizard.
Yeah.
This one is for you. This is I asked you and Carter like what megas you guys wanted to include in here, and you mentioned Mega Manectric.
So Mega Manectric was used, but not really on a team sort of like this. I'm going to see if I can just quickly. VGC. Because yeah, this was something that I was like, I've looked at. Tony's and I have talked about this a lot. This was one of his favorite megas to use. So this is like one of the two. So the main like that we had, so Manectric had a handful of top 8s. The main idea with Manectric is this is another Pokemon that is just really good inside and outside of its Mega Evolution. So inside of hold on, let me pull up. I need to pull up Manectric.
Inside your Lightning Rod. And without Mega your Lightning Rod, when Mega your Intimidate.
Yep. So the fact that you can have, again, 2 really great abilities inside and outside is always going to be useful. And the reason why it would be useful, so you would usually run this Pokemon. The main team that was being ran back then, it was ran with both Tapu Fini and Celesteela, along with Incin, Goth, or P2, and Snorlax as your last 3. So a lot of times you were looking at like 2 Electric Weak Pokemon, your Fake Out user, and then a Trick Room user plus Snorlax. So I think running it in this sense, you would like in this team, it would be ran the same way where you're just using the Pokemon like it's your pivot, it's your intimidator, it's your ability to like protect your really powerful Electric Weak Pokemon. And then you're more so letting the other 5 Mons on this team shine. And the Manectric just is like the cog that makes it go. When looking at the available Pokemon that we know about,
so what you're going to be doing is you're probably going to be using this as it's a Lightning Rod to stop like Mega Raichu.
You know what? Actually, like this Pokemon would be like really good with. I'm looking at it. I think that with the Volt Switch, the the Volt Switch and the Lightning Rod, I think this would be an excellent Pokemon to help maximize something like Pallet, which is a
Could
Pokemon that
be.
we have, which is a Pokemon that we know is returning. Like that's just like thinking of it like these. Like I feel like Mega Manectric would be really strong in these more Pallet style teams. Like I could see like Manectric Incin double intimidate with the ability to have the redirection. You have your Palafin, Rilla, just and then like some special attackers in the back. That was like more so my idea with Mega, where the star of the team is not your Mega Manectric, it's your Palafin, which does its own quote unquote Mega evolution by going back into your team to get changed into a superhero costume and then coming back out. And that just allows, and that's like more so my thought on it. I don't know. I think it isn't the best Mega, and you are correct. Where now that we do have Mega Raichu X and Y, which there's already like I think have we mentioned the potential like what the ability everyone's thinking that the Raichu X has?
We haven't mentioned it, but it's for those that are wondering, it is very likely Electric Surge.
Which me likey a lot, big time.
That'll be cool if it is. We're not exactly sure, but if it is Electric Surge and it sets Electric Terrain, like that Volt Tackle's gonna hit like a truck.
Oh my god! It's also going to make your Raichu's own HP bar.
Oh yeah, no, it'll be a.
Yeah,
you will be trading HP bars very, very quickly.
But like, who cares? Like that would be awesome. But yeah, that was more so my idea with Manectric, as like the Mega, the Mega who isn't the star of the show. Because like even on the Mega teams that
there
did
will
well,
be a lot of Megas like that. I will
yeah.
tell you that now. There's going to be a lot of Megas like that.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers the Megas that took over games and remembers the like that very, very fondly. A lot of the Megas are more background players. They just kind of show up and do one thing for a turn, and then they either trade it off or they are being the support, like you mentioned with the Charizard X, doing supporting things with the Will-O-Wisp, the stuff like that, or Charizard Y setting Tailwind, and that's sometimes that's all it gets to do. And so a lot of the Megas are going to be very much in the situation of sitting in the background while the rest of your squad handles everything else in the front.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much all the Megas that I wanted to talk about. There's other Megas, like Mega T-Tar was good for a little bit.
Gardevoir did win Senior Worlds.
I don't count seniors or juniors anything.
Yeah. It did have a few other places, like there. I think like one of the other things with Gardevoir, like just looking at one of these teams, this was a second place Portland Regionals at the Masters level. I think the best way to look at Mega Gardevoir is that it's a better form of the way that people started like really using Mail-in DD. You have the natural speed, you are a lot bulkier, you hit a lot harder, and you don't need that like choice item in order to do the damage or have the speed going. And you can do that. I'm going to play on a hyper offensive team or even like a mixed speed team, and I'm going to be a damage dealer with the pixelated boosted hyper voice and your psychic coverage. But I'm also going to be the like anti Trick Room mon. Like I can also go into Trick Room, like depending on the other team.
Yeah.
So like this second place team here, a lot of the teams, and again in the Sun and Moon era, like just having P2 on or like Snorlax and everything, again, it just happened a lot. But this one specifically, it was like Gardevoir, Feeny, Lando, Incin, Amoonguss, and Aegislash. Now, I'm not sure how much of a team, like how much that would work. Maybe Aegislash is in the game, but maybe Aegislash is Dango. Maybe the Landorus and Feeny combine into like a secondary Intimidator in the Gyarados. maybe that's another aspect where you're going double Mega with like Mega Guardy, Mega Gyarados. I know it sounds a little weird to say, and then you're throwing out another offensive piece there. I think like Guardy would be another interesting one. Again, depending on what else is being used at the time, and of course, all of this is depending on what these other megas end up doing.
Oh yeah, like we gotta like we could rank megas, but I really want to wait until we see more like what their abilities are.
We need to see these abilities
because the abilities are going to make or break like how useful they are, right? Think like Mega Dragalge, Mega Dragonite, Mega Raichu X and Y, Mega Absol, and Mega Absol Z, Drampa. Like there's just a lot of potential for really good Pokemon because their stat distributions are really good at being min-maxed out for Megas. That if their abilities suck, they probably aren't going to be very good. And that's just the unfortunate nature of the game. It's just like if your ability's not great, you're probably not going to be able to get away with doing much. Especially since there's so many strong abilities now in VGC.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to cover. Obviously, like I could probably come up with a lot of cores for the new stuff.
Maybe that's like an episode, like a future episode.
That'll probably be like a week 1 or 2 episode once we get abilities and whatnot for champions.
Yeah, we'll probably like divvy up like 3 to 5 megas each.
Get it figured out
from there.
Yep. Because we'll know pretty quick like what megas are going to be viable and what megas aren't just based on abilities and whatnot. That'll get determined pretty quick. But yeah, there was a special event this past weekend. We're not gonna. Here's the long and the short of it. I'm tired of talking about Reg F. I'm tired of talking about all these teams and whatnot. I'm just like I'm kind of over it.
I mean, I have the team up. If we want to just give the shout out, it was Leonardo Ritter, a Brazilian, and also like just looking at the event in general, it was a Latin American special event. Looks like a lot like Brazil got theirs. They did not get it didn't get farmed by a New Englander. So we took 2 already from the Latin American region. We're not going to promise to take more because we probably will attempt to.
I'll try,
but at least this one we gave them a weekend, and it was just like this hyper offensive team that we've seen in the past. The Chiyu, Flutter, AV Bolt, Smeargle, Darkfu, and the Sharpie Tornadus.
The Flutterfish Tornadus, Decorate Smeargle, gonna blow people up. Yeah, we've seen that before.
So good on it for winning. Congratulations, Leonardo, for grabbing your Worlds invite. We'll see you in San Francisco. Probably not, but who can say?
Maybe.
I mean, I might go.
You never know.
Yeah, I like going to Worlds as a spectator.
This will be the first year to do it with the XP event and whatnot.
Exactly. So who could say? But yeah, it's just in general, like especially now that we know that Regulation I is back. This is most people are now really just moving off of that.
Most people are moving off of SV. Let's be real.
Yes, that too. Maybe we do like a last minute like Regulation I thing.
If you want to see Reg I content, let us know.
Yeah.
If not, we'll just keep talking champion stuff.
Yeah, we'll cover the regionals at least to see what happens. Orlando will be fun, but outside of that, like we are. I don't think we're going to do a tier list revisit.
No, God, no.
Yeah.
No, I don't. We might talk about the archetypes that are good for I and things that you probably should be playing and things you probably shouldn't be playing. Because I feel like that list has gotten much smaller now that we're post the first Regulation I. But yeah, that's about all we got.
Yeah. Well, my heat kicked on.
I'm about to say your furnace is telling us it's time to go.
It is, and while we are going, you can still always find us on our YouTube page at Littleroot Lessons. You can find us on all our socials, specifically Blue Sky at Littleroot Lessons, the host specifically, Carl at Musical, Carter at Mr. Missouri 25, and myself at Bruce Cheeks. Hop into our Discord. We're having a few people joining in, gearing up for the start of Pokemon Champions. We're very excited to be able to hopefully have some more community content and tournaments, some streaming going on. Like once we really dive into this this new game that once it comes out. What else do we have? That's kind of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's a short day.
Yep.
I'm going to sleep like a baby. I hope.
You hope. Let's see. We'll
hope.
We'll see if it actually happens.
Yeah, no, it's we have the new. I told you about what happened with the headboard, right? Or the bed frame.
Nope.
Okay, so story time before we leave, everyone. So long story short, we got when we were moving, we're like, oh, let's get a new bed, and we just got we got one of those adjustable bases. We got the adjustable base and the mattress, and I'm like, dude, we should get a frame, and Amanda's like, oh no, we're fine. And then one of the things we realized is okay, so we painted the room and we aren't going to put the bed right against the wall, so there's a gap. And the first night, we put her we were staying at the house, put our heads on the pillows, and it would just slide right off. Uh-oh. So I've been kind of dealing with that. We actually just got a new bed set, so we are going to have a bed frame and everything. But that will be in for another few days. So I'm going to hope that my pillow doesn't fall again, and I can actually sleep. And on that, good night, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.